Hey everybody, you're watching a physio named Jonah. That's this guy. Where in today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the worst questions or questions you can avoid when you go to see your physiotherapist in a clinic or hospital. As I mentioned in my best questions video, questions are a powerful tool. My goal of this video is to help you avoid some questions that may not be as helpful and instead focus on how to reframe those questions to stimulate a better conversation. I'll be going based off of questions that either colleagues or myself have gotten in the past, or just questions that you should be avoiding in general. I'll try and keep them relatively broad so they're relatable to yourself and your situation. This video is not meant to be shaming any patients or individuals who have asked these questions before, or to say that some of these questions are inherently wrong in and of themselves. Come on guys, it's me, I'm not that mean. Instead, I'll be looking to explain why these questions may not help you get to the responses you're looking for, and how to ask questions that will better facilitate a conversation between you and your physio. Without any further ado, let's get to the questions. When can I get back to the things that I need to get back to? I really wish I had a crystal ball at work so I could answer this question with certainty. I really do. But the honest answer is, I don't know. There are generalized guidelines or timelines that we can work off of in the literature, but I still find myself constantly surprised by how different people react very differently from one another. Everybody's body is unique to them, their daily routines are unique to them. There are a lot of variables between different people that make this very much feel a lot like guesswork. This is not to say that it isn't something you'll want to know about, and these predictions about return to work, sport, normal happen all the time in rehabilitation. What I'm trying to caution against here is expecting an exact date or really specific timeline. With that in mind, I think some better questions to ask are instead, what are the general guidelines or timelines for an injury like this, and when will I know that I'm ready to return to my activities? Understanding the general timelines for recovery, or what we can expect loosely, is really important, but it is also important to recognize that everybody is quite different in how they're going to respond. After that, asking about how you specifically will know when you're ready can help you to be more aware of the body cues that are telling us that we're ready to start transitioning back. This is really important because you may be ready quicker than we would expect, and if you know what you're looking for, then we'll know how to progress things more quickly and potentially start any kind of early transition. Is this treatment going to work for me? I mean, this seems like a pretty legitimate question. I would like to know if something's going to work before I go ahead and get started with it. The problem becomes that your physiotherapist just cannot know for sure whether or not something is going to work for you. There are times when everything seems to be pointing towards a certain treatment, a certain technique. These are the patterns that we understand, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't seem to be getting what we're looking for. Then you go ahead and try something a little more unorthodox, a treatment that maybe you wouldn't normally do for that condition, and boom, there you go. We're starting to make some progress, and now we're back to our normal routine. The important thing to note here is that everyone is different, and everyone's reactions to treatment is going to be a little bit different. This makes it endlessly variable, which I find remarkably fascinating when I'm treating patients, but it also makes it really difficult to deal in absolutes and say that for sure something is going to work. So I think instead some better questions to ask are, why do you think this treatment technique will help me, or why did you choose this specific treatment or technique? Now, instead of a question where the only honest answer somebody can give is, I don't know for sure, we have an opportunity to discuss findings, paths of treatments, expectations, what is unique to you about your specific case, and what we're going to try and tackle about that. There are times when direct questions with simple answers are important to ask, but in a case like this where the direct answer is, I can't say for sure, that doesn't exactly help us or give us any more information moving forward. Instead, opt for a question that shares a little more about what your therapist is thinking and why they're doing what they're doing. I think this makes a much stronger jumping off point later on if things aren't working and we have to switch things up, or if things are working and we want to understand how to continue that progress at home. Have you seen other patients with this condition or injury get better? So, I get it. You want to know that your therapist has successfully treated patients like you before. But here's the problem. There's only one you. I was honestly waffling a little bit about this question because it's not inherently that bad of a question. Like, it kind of doesn't feel like it belongs on a worst questions list, right? I decided to end up including it on this worst questions list because I don't think the answer is all that helpful. This is a yes or no question. If a therapist answers yes, now you have more confidence in them in your treatment. Awesome. If the therapist answers no, then all of a sudden your condition sounds more scary and you're not sure that you're going to get better because they haven't seen anybody like you before. I think one of the messages that I'm trying to get across in this video is that questions that spark conversation or discussion are going to be more effective than just yes or no questions, because the true answer to the above statement is probably somewhere in the gray area. I'm a fairly young therapist and I have already seen a ton of patients with a tennis elbow-like presentation or pain at that lateral elbow. And a lot of them have looked vastly different from one another. There are a lot of difference in what people do for work, how people respond to pain, their activities outside of work, their genetic makeup, not to mention a ton of other individual factors that have made this same presentation or condition very, very, very different between different people. So with all of that uncertainty and individuality in mind, I think a question that is better suited to increasing your confidence in what's going to happen therapeutically is to just directly ask, how do you think physio is going to help me with my condition or injury? I know this is a bit of a reworking of the question and it seems a little bit changed, but I think that the root underneath of this question is we're looking for confidence or some validation that physio is going to work. So instead, just ask directly how we think it's going to help and how we're going to tell those things are working. Asking these sort of how questions and why we think things are going to work are going to be more effective because they're going to allow more of a conversation and more of a discussion. This is going to lead to more of an understanding between the therapist and the patient, which almost always leads to better outcomes. Again, I think questions like this are much more effective than a simple yes or no and are going to do a better job in getting you and your physio on the same page working together. Lightning rounds. I'm not going to be diving into why I think these questions aren't as good to ask for quite as long because I think they're a little more self-explanatory. Are you old enough to be a physio? I haven't gotten this question very much thanks to the fact that I have facial hair, but I do know colleagues who have gotten this question. Physio is a protected term, which makes it pretty hard to falsify or impersonate one, and if you are legitimately concerned that the person across from you is not who they claim to be, I might go to a different clinic. Are you single? Yeah, patients flirting or making advances has actually never been an issue for me, which I'm very happy about. This is more of a PSA in general for the healthcare world. Healthcare workers are not allowed to have relationships with their patients. Period. End of story. No more conversation. I know this is despite what certain forms of media have mentioned about it, but it's that. Do you enjoy causing people pain? Good God, I hope the answer to this question is no. Pain is often a part of treatment and rehab. However, I don't enjoy making people feel pain. I enjoy helping them feel better. Pain can just be a component of that process. Honestly, I'd probably avoid asking this question just in case the answer is yes. Do I have to do my exercises at home? No, of course you don't. There is absolutely no way your physio is going to show up at your house and force you to do them. Instead, ask why you should be doing the exercises or how they may help so that you can make an informed decision. After that, ball's in your court. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you have some new perspective on why to avoid certain questions or what are some better questions to ask next time you see your physio. I also did release a video on the best questions to ask your physio, so if you're interested, go ahead and check that out as well. If there are other questions that you think should be avoided and I missed in today's video, go ahead and drop those in the comments section below for me. If you did enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up button to let YouTube know that you did in fact enjoy the video. Consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. But most importantly guys, move your body, have a laugh today, and I will see you at the next video.